We're now under 150 days until the college basketball season kicks off. And now that some of the college basketball rosters are starting to settle in, we're starting to see who's going to be on each roster. I want to get you guys some of my biggest breakout candidates for each team in all the major conferences in the country. To kick it off, I'm going to go with the ACC today, and we're going to go in alphabetical order. So to start this all off, we're going to go with Boston College. My breakout candidate for them is Quinten Post. After starting off his career at Mississippi State, he transferred to Boston College, where he put up career numbers last season at about 20 minutes per game as a split share at the center spot. And this season, he's going to be in full control. And per 40 last season, Quinten Post averaged 17.6 points per game, 10 rebounds per game, and 1.9 blocks per game. So he's a player to look forward to on the Eagles this upcoming season. Next up, I have Clemson. My breakout candidate for them is Ben Middlebrooks. After reclassifying and playing last season, he ended up getting himself a little bit of a role in last year's team, appearing in 26 games, 4 of which he started in. Now, his numbers did not pop off the charts, but he was a player that developed over the course of the season. I think we'll be seeing him slide right into the power forward spot alongside PJ Hall and Hunter Tyson next season. I also do like Ian Shefflin, Chase Hunter, both guys I do think we could also see breakout this season as well. Next up is Duke, and their breakout candidate is Jeremy Roach. Now, this is probably a guy that most people would say for Duke because we saw the flashes that he had during March Madness, but overall last season, he didn't have the best averages. So I think Jeremy Roach will have a big jump this season, and he's going to lead the team at the point guard spot for John Shire in year one. As for Florida State, the guy I'm going to go with is Naheem McLeod. 7'4". He's going to be the starting center for Florida State this season. We saw a lot of flashes from him last season. He got injured, but he is somebody I think will develop tremendously this year and should be able to hold down the center spot for Landon Hamilton this year. I am also very high on Jalen Worley, Cam Fletcher. I think both those guys will have major jumps this year as well. For Georgia Tech, I think there's 3 guys that will all have huge jumps this year. Those 3 guys are Deivon Smith, Miles Kelly, and Deebo Coleman. Now, Georgia Tech has a lot of departing pieces headed by Michael DeVoe and Jordan Ush this year. So there's a lot of points and a lot of minutes to fill for those guys. All 3 of them showed a ton of flashes last season. For Deivon Smith, he showed flashes at Mississippi State as well. I think all 3 of them will form an electric and exciting trio for Josh Pastner. For Louisville, I have 2 breakout candidates. Both Sidney Curry and Ellis, I expect huge jumps from. We saw the jump that Sidney Curry made, especially the second half of last season. I think that's only going to be going forward for him. I think he's officially one of the cornerstones of this program. But one guy I don't think people are talking enough about is Ellis. The backcourt was extremely crowded last season. He was having to play out of position a lot. He will be the point guard from this season. I think we're going to see a major jump from Ellis this year as well. Another guy that I think we'll see a big jump from is Jalen Withers. For the Miami Hurricanes, Anthony Walker is my breakout candidate for them. He's been a player that's heading into his 4th year now in the program, and he is more than ready to jump into the starting role and take over Cam McGusty because he's been a very solid rotational piece for Jim Larinaga. But he now gets an opportunity to shine there. And I think he's going to have a breakout season for the Hurricanes this year. As for NC State, Ebenezer Dawana. He was thrust into playing a lot more minutes due to Manny Bates' injury last season. By playing those extra minutes, I think is going to lead to him having a major jump this season. He's once again going to be the best shot blocker in this team, but also I think he's going to make a jump on the offensive side as well. 2 of the guys to look for at NC State to make jumps this season, Ernest Ross, a former top 50 recruit, Dusan Mahorsak, a transfer from Utah. As for the Tar Heels, Puff Johnson. Puff Johnson will be ready to go either as a starter or the first guy off the bench for North Carolina. We saw the flash of it during the March run, and I think we're going to see a breakout season for Puff Johnson in his 3rd year at North Carolina. The other candidate for myself is Dontre Styles. I'm extremely high on him. I think we're going to see him get a lot more minutes this season. For Notre Dame, Nate Laszewski. Now, he's a player that a lot of people already know is not much for a breakout, but last year was a down year for him, and I think the jump he's going to have will surpass what he had his junior season because you look at them losing Paul Atkinson now, and they didn't really add a replacement in the transfer portal yet. So I think he's a player that I think is more than capable of averaging 15 or more points per game, being an all-conference player. That is why I think he will be the biggest breakout player at Notre Dame. For Pitt, William Jeffress. He didn't live up to the hype last season, but I'm not too worried about that because he just turned 19 years old. That is younger than a lot of the incoming freshmen this year. Already has 2 years of college basketball under his belt, and I think this will be the year that he cements himself as a starting small forward for Pitt and will be a foundational cornerstone of this program going forward. I also think Nate Santos, we could see a breakout season from as well. As for Syracuse, Benny Williams. He was a former 5-star talent. Didn't get a lot of minutes, at least as much as a lot of people probably expected for him to get, but he stayed bought into the plan that Jim Boeheim has set for him, and I think that he will reap the rewards for doing that. For Virginia, Reece Beekman. He already had a big jump from his freshman to his sophomore season, but heading into his junior season now, I think he's going to make an even bigger jump on the offensive end. I think he will be a double-digit scorer this year and be an all-conference player. For Virginia Tech, Darius Maddox. This is a guy that earned the trust of Mike Young last season, But I think now with another offseason under his belt and with an opening at the wing this year in the starting lineup, I think he will be the starter heading into the first game of the season. This is a guy that shot 50.6% from three on 79 three-point attempts this year. People should be excited to go and watch this year to see how much of a jump exactly he ends up making for this team. I also think that Sean Padula will make a big jump this year as well. Last but most certainly not least, Wake Forest. My breakout candidate for them is Kansas State transfer Davion Bradford. He's been someone that I've been extremely high on ever since he came out of high school. And based on what Steve Forbes did last year with Dallas Walton, a fellow 7-footer, I think that we can expect a similar jump, but maybe even more because I think that Davion Bradford's ceiling is a little bit higher than Dallas Walton's. Another candidate I'm excited to watch to see the jump he makes for Wake Forest is Damari Monsanto. Now, that is my breakout candidates for all 15 ACC teams. I'm going to get to my breakout candidates for each and every single major conference this year. So stay tuned and check them all out.